everyone. Welcome back
to Track Limits Podcast. We're here today at Creator Club Studios. It's our year end.
It is.
Season 1. What a season, guys.
Yeah.
I am impressed. We've come a long way. You've come a long way. A lot of guests, a lot of great interviews.
Yep.
I want to jump into getting your thoughts on this season.
Oh, I mean, thank you so much for hosting, Artie.
Yeah, let's go.
I love this.
So much better than
about
Swish.
you first.
Yeah.
Tell our audience, tell everyone who you are.
Yeah.
I'm known as the F1 poet.
Yes,
so I
sir.
started off several years ago just writing some corny poetry for Formula One. It's my favorite sport, and found myself in the paddock writing for various media outlets, and have never thought it would happen, and it happened, and I loved every minute of it, and I'm clinging on to that, and I'm happy to be part of the team.
Oh, yeah.
And you've been helping out so much, writing articles for us, poems for us, even connecting us to so many guests. So
big time.
Thank you, Ernie, as well, by the way.
Big
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Amazing. What do you have for us, Ernie?
So I want to
Yeah.
kick off with
I'm scared.
Yeah, we haven't been on
No,
this side.
no, not at all.
Have we? No.
No one's ever.
Like,
Yeah,
even
no
our
one's-
our
yeah.
reflection episodes are a little bit more chill. Like, this is, we don't know.
a little
what's
more
happening.
formal.
I'm
You guys
excited.
don't know what to expect.
Yeah, let's
No,
go.
I like this.
So I wanted to kick off with just some of your experiences throughout the season, and start off with if you could describe the past year in one word, what would that word be?
I'm going to kick us off here. Roller coaster.
I'm going to say adventurous.
Max.
Long.
Yes. Round of applause for Henny.
About to get longer. About to
Yes.
get longer. Fantastic. And for myself, I would say I have always liked the term parabolica, Monza. It just means like just craziness, and I think that's what encompassed this year. Just watching you guys, globe trotting and doing all these interviews, and the number, just the sheer number of interviews that you guys have done has been just crazy. So for me, this year was parabolic.
Oh, I love that.
Oh.
All right, I want to move on to highlights.
Yeah.
What was the single most exciting moment for each of you in the world of motorsport this year?
Henny, you want to kick us off here?
All of us are looking at you.
I'll say Max's dominance was incredible to see. I know in different eras, a lot of fans have said, oh, Michael Schumacher had his era of dominance. Lewis Hamilton had his dominance. And we're living in the Max era right now. We'll yet to see how far he can push this, but I'm super excited as a Red Bull fan. I say this almost every episode. It's enjoyable to see. I just wish it was closer when we talk about dominance in terms of even either his teammate or just one other team fighting against him. But we got to see some brilliance there.
Skip ahead.
Oh. I think for me, the battle for P2 was exciting. I think that was fun to see how many teams could have been on the podium, especially by the end.
Yeah.
McLaren was up there, Aston Martin was up there, Mercedes, Ferrari. It was cool. Like if you took Red Bull out, it was actually really entertaining that every weekend almost there was a new team on the podium, which was kind of cool to see.
Bevan?
You.
Back to me.
Most exciting moment.
The most exciting moment was actually the Singapore Grand Prix for me.
Come on, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah,
me too.
Ferrari.
That was my favorite one. Obviously, Max was dominating most of the season, so it was really refreshing to see. Obviously, they struggled as a team that whole weekend, but just Ferrari and Sainz, and it was, as a true Ferrari fan, it was the most exhilarating race for me.
The last 20 laps, especially.
Well, yeah.
Not the first
the
40.
I forget how many laps
Not much
the total, but the last third of the race was my favorite.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of this, but that race where McLaren Oscar won the sprint,
Qatar, yeah.
Edit that, please. Yeah, no, that was, we seen McLaren what their potential, and it was like,
I love that.
they could flip the script. So to me, that was like, let's go.
Yes.
It's going to change things up a little bit. So
Yeah.
it was cool to see. I liked it.
I'm gonna go Vegas.
Ooh.
And I'm
That
going to
was
tell
a
you
surprise.
why.
Oh, yes.
It was Charles, his last ditch attempt at getting past Checo.
Yeah.
For me, that was like,
Bold.
it was really, really exciting for me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, this guy passed 3 Red Bulls in one race. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's like, what year
and
are
he
we
got
in?
it right at the end and he kept it. So
Yeah.
that was, for me, that was the most exciting. And in Vegas too, right? It was.
Yeah.
It was also
Yeah.
cool to see how it started off so bad in terms of like practice sessions, and then the race actually turned out to be pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
And just the fanfare and like the amount of negative press
Yeah.
and overall just like such a low expectation for that weekend, which probably
Helped.
helped,
Maybe.
one might say.
There were definitely lessons to be learned from Las Vegas, especially what happened to Carlos
Oh yeah.
and how that was handled. I think there probably could have been handled differently, but
Yeah.
lessons
Rules.
learned.
The
Rules are
rules,
rules.
man.
I know.
I don't think things will change next year.
No, definitely.
Like, what are you arguing here over? Like, if you do replace because the track damaged the car, like,
Who's
because that was a
responsible,
unique
yeah.
scenario because it was a manhole.
I hope they change that. Yeah.
That penalty was harsh for
Yeah,
that.
Very
harsh.
harsh.
I don't foresee a lot of that changing next year, which
I mean, the team owners won't allow it.
No.
No, they're gonna protect themselves at any cost.
Yeah, karma's a.
He'll catch up for sure.
So we talked about you guys traveling,
Yeah.
and obviously, when you're doing something like this and you're doing it globally, there's going to be some challenges.
No, not at all.
Come on.
It was a smooth
Smooth sailing, baby.
I'd like you to share some moments where things didn't go as planned, and I'd like to understand what you learned from it. Maybe Henny, you can.
Yeah, I mean, production. Let's take it back to the moment when we decided to do this podcast, and when we're planning it, we're like, you know what? I think 10 episodes is perfect for season 1. We're gonna keep it short, simple, maybe one bi-weekly.
stretch goal was 14.
Yeah. We're like maximum 14 episodes. We're like, okay, we can do this. But I think as we saw more and more of just shooting season 1 while we were in Europe in the first 2 weeks, we're like, no, I think this is going to be more than 14 episodes. This is going to be like a 30 episode or 30 guest season. And then that's when I think production took to another level, because we started with 2 cameras and we're like, we'll figure it out on the way. And lights, we're like, we'll just rent everywhere.
You were a stickler for
I was
that.
stick, yeah,
You-
I
you
still
put-
am. I
you-
hate carrying this thing to this day.
I hate
That's-
carrying it too.
Exactly.
My shoes are destroyed.
Let
a lot
it
of
be
equipment.
known, lighting is everything, and every woman will tell you that.
100%.
Even Mikey.
Yeah.
Even my,
I need a lot of light. I need a lot.
Boy, you need to tan.
We need a makeup sponsor so we can like.
listen, a men's makeup
Oh, Lord.
sponsor, if you're listening, or
This is
women's,
the one,
honestly, this is Michael needs it.
100%.
Don't do it. It's all targeted me here. Like.
Actually, the Swish needs it too.
I
Yeah.
need it a bit too complicated.
Come to our tone. Get closer to our tone.
There's a
I think
reason
we're
why we
going.
sit beside each other. As well, like.
Oh yeah, this is all by design.
For sure. But I think that was the biggest lesson. It was you gotta stay ahead of it. We made a lot of small mistakes that could have been avoided when it comes to production, whether it is, having our own lights and not trying to figure out the nearest lighting equipment. I remember there's a cool story when we were shooting Mario's episode and we rented lights and we didn't know that Italians have Fiesta in Milan.
Siesta.
Or Siesta, sorry.
Siesta.
And we booked it for like 11:40. We got there at noon or something, closed for an hour, and our shoot was at 1:20.
This is in Milan.
In Milan, yeah. So that was chaos because we're like, oh my God, how are we going to shoot without lights? And then the whole time we didn't even need lights
The
because
room was lit up.
it was the most lit up
room.
room I've ever experienced. And they sent us photos and didn't look anything close to what they showed us there. So yeah, stuff like that. I think production is something we're going to improve, and we learned so much this year that season 2 is going to be bigger and better.
So, from the technical difficulties you might have experienced, anything funny come out of those?
Bevan's got a story for us.
Yeah. Well, one of my most recent ones that have happened was, it wasn't even like a technical difficulty that was in our control, really, because we would typically not test the chairs that we sit on.
Oh, that was fun. I forgot about that one.
In one of our recent episodes with Zach Brown, he in the first third of the interview, like every frame you go back to him, you see him getting lower and lower and lower, and like at one point he's trying to reach
He was drowning.
to speak into his,
You can see it in the video as well. Like,
Yeah,
you can
it's a
see it.
progression.
and we obviously were trying to keep the momentum go, or just the conversation going, while we're all realizing this. And then at one point he just goes, I think I'm sinking. And that was a pretty funny incident because I think going into that conversation with Zach, it was he's a very straightforward point and shoot CEO. So he gave us a lot of time. He was very generous with his time, but it was, I would say, probably a much more like formal like approach at the beginning, and I think that like really broke the ice and made us all human in that moment. So that was really funny.
That was a great. I love that interview, by the way.
Yeah, he's
a lot. Yeah, funny enough, a lot of the comments we were seeing is like we haven't seen him that comfortable in an interview. He's like she said, even from ours, the first few 20, 15 minutes was very formal. Then he kind of eased up and he was answering very casually, didn't really mind.
Yeah.
And then like Sector 3, he was giving us some funny answers.
Don't forget, he wasn't in a suit as well. He was in a race suit.
Yeah.
He's pure casual.
He was pulled off the track to be like, God, you have to do this interview right now. And I'm sure he didn't know what the heck was going on.
He heard track limits, like, what? I didn't do any infringement.
Exactly.
Oh, that was a good one.
By the way, great name. Track limits, because you guys get free press all the time in F1.
Especially in the Austrian Grand Prix.
That
really helps. Yeah.
Every time you say track limits, just need our colors. If we just get that, we're golden.
So I really like this line of comedy here. Any behind the scenes funny clips or behind the scenes stories that you guys can share?
I have one.
Yeah.
It's one when we were interviewing Arav the second time. So the first time, this is a technical difficulty. One of the studios we worked with, the footage just got corrupted. So we had to do a few interviews again. And Mikey had just flown in the morning off, took the red eye, came in.
I didn't sleep a wink either.
He didn't sleep at all. I gave him a coffee. He downed the coffee. And I have never seen a man shake more before an interview than Mikey before interviewing Arav. Like, he
It was so bad.
vibrating.
My leg was going, and then my arm was going, and then I swear my shoulder was twitching at one stage. Where Arav was like, "Bro, you good?"
He's like paused in the middle of it and be like, "Yo, you good?"
So that would be mine. I enjoyed seeing Mikey in pain.
That was good times, though. That was good times. At least it
were
was
probably
Arav, and it was like our second interview, so it felt like we knew the guy.
Exactly.
But yeah, I was definitely struggling. Definitely struggling.
I don't
times,
know.
though.
Funny moment. This is such a long story, so I won't get into it. But
Behind the scenes. So something that
our trip to Almelo was
God.
one of the most craziest experiences.
Traumatic.
Funny and traumatic because
Literally.
there was 4 of us, me, Swish, FA, and Justin, great assets to the team. And we decided to go and interview esports driver. And this was about an hour and a half to 2 hours away from Amsterdam. And we're like, okay, we're going to train this. And we had another interview right after. We booked 2 interviews, one in Almelo and then one back in Amsterdam before our flight that same evening. So we got there and we really didn't do that much research. And we're like, we'll catch it from the train station. We'll catch an Uber. I mean, this was like a town, I want to say like 1,000 people. It's the smallest town. There was nothing there. Buses did not come on time. We realized there was no taxis or Ubers. So we're like, we'll wait for the bus. Did not come for another 40 minutes. And we're like, okay, we're kind of screwed.
And it's so cold.
Yeah, it's freezing.
so cold.
Freezing. And we have...
I can just see it.
It was so bad. We have about 80 pounds to 100 pounds of gear in total. With lights, our camera equipment, and everything. And we're just lugging it. Finally, the bus decides to come. We took the bus. We got to the stop, and then from the stop, it was like another 50-minute walk with all that equipment. And it was all pebbles. It was like, it wasn't like the sidewalk was like, one of those like square mini pebbles. It wasn't flat.
The wheels won't
turn.
Is that when you broke the luggage?
No. But that got
probably
broken
set it
before.
up.
No. When we landed in Amsterdam, it broke.
Thank you,
Before.
EasyJet.
Yeah, thank you very much. Shout out to that. But then, we were like, we have to shoot this in 10 minutes. It was like the quickest shoot ever.
10-minute interview in his house, in the living room.
In the living room. In and out. And then we're like, okay, now we have I think it was a 12:40 bus or train ride. And we're like, can you drive us? He's like, no, my mom's not here. We're like, okay. So we have to wait for another bus. We waited at the bus stop for almost an hour. Did not come.
Never showed up.
We almost gave up at that point. We're like, I think we have to cancel our next interview. And then we're like, okay, let's go to the center because we're still in the residential area. We go and there was a gas station, and FA was like, I'm just gonna go talk to this guy that has like the smallest car. It was those like mini Honda Civics, the old ones,
like the little hatchback,
the hatchback ones. And we're like, he asked him, and he was also Turkish, which FA is.
Out.
They spoke, and like they agreed 20 pounds. We're paying you right now, or 20 euros. Please take us back to the train station. When I say we fit into that small car, like all of us were like this with gear and covered, and
Yeah.
we somehow made it back with like 3 minutes to spare for our train, and then we still made that second interview.
Yeah.
But it was so traumatic. Now we laugh about it, but I want to quit. That was the moment I want to quit this podcast.
I was looking at houses in Almelo.
Quit.
I'm like, I'm stuck.
I'm done. I'm done.
Literally. Like, I felt like I was going to be stuck in that city forever.
You got to look at this though. It can't get worse.
Don't
Okay, let's not
jinx
jinx
it.
it.
Do
Let's not jinx it. Let's not
jinx
jinx it. It's a good story.
Oh, that was
Great story.
Yeah.
It could get worse.
I legit, in my side topic, in my Hinge profile, I say, never ever visit Almelo, Netherlands. And the amount of people be like, why?
And
You have a
your
Hinge?
what?
On my
And your
Hinge
what?
Hinge profile, like my dating profile.
You have a
Oh.
Hinge?
Yeah.
Sorry, do
I
not.
put that
First
in.
of all, they do not sponsor Hinge. They don't sponsor us.
Oh, yeah.
Hinge?
So let's.
It's
The dating app that starts with
we'll,
H.
we'll beep it out. We'll beep it out. Yeah.
Also, don't
I'm
forget, like,
teasing. we would want to be.
In my
don't forget a funny time was in St. Pete's, where back to that challenge where we rented lighting equipment. And it was like a proper film production. So they gave us equipment that was probably for a movie shoot, where we were like, we don't need this amount of equipment, but we had to take it. Massive tripods. It probably weighed like 100 pounds
easy.
on top of our additional equipment. So we carried it. They'd shut off so many, because it's a road circuit in St. Pete's, right? There was so far to walk. I remember I had blisters on my feet at one stage. We got
you're
there.
bleeding halfway through.
I was bleeding just getting there to set
Yeah.
up the equipment. We had to walk down with 10 flights of stairs. We got in there. Every single one of us was dripping with sweat.
Oh, man.
We got a knock on the door and the guest was
Are you
there.
right there.
And we
Before
were like,
even set
we've
up, we're like-
nothing set up. So we were like, swish, entertain, me and Henny. We were just like, let's
In,
build.
in.
We built an entire studio in like a makeup room
Literally.
in like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Typically, Swish and I take the role of entertain.
Yeah.
Whenever we're in
They're
these
useless
situations,
in production. Absolutely useless.
Hey,
they
they
break
We're the
stuff.
faces.
We set up
They break
tripods.
stuff.
We set up
Yeah.
tripods.
Sorry. You
Audio now,
break,
I do audio.
you break
Try-
No,
tripod.
no, I broke one.
Two.
One. Fevin broke the other one.
Well, you broke
that's
one in
my
London too.
name.
No, I broke one. I broke one. Only
That-
one
that's
leg.
on
The
the
leg.
London.
The leg came out. Yeah. That's it.
Swish,
Oh, okay.
The
Just
leg came
one.
off because you yanked the leg off.
And ever since then, I have been so careful with each one. It's like a baby.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It takes you 7
and I'm
hours.
actually
Yeah.
so
Take
scared that
your
if it
time.
comes out, I'm just gonna hide the body. Like, they wouldn't know.
They will never know.
I love it.
Oh,
But
man.
no, I enjoyed St. Pete too for what we did after that interview. But I don't
Sounds
know
like
if we
there
want to
were-
introduce the audience to Sneaky Pines, but we can do that later.
That's a whole different episode.
Yeah, it
Whole
needs a
different
whole one.
Sorry, already
It
good.
sounds like there was a lot of surprises throughout
Lot.
the season.
Huge.
So let me ask you this: what interview surprised you the most? The silence falls over.
I wanna jump in here.
Track
I'm-
limits
In
team.
like a good way or a bad way? What are we thinking
Whichever
here?
way, like you could.
I don't
have
think there
your
was a bad
rationale.
one either.
No, I don't think it has to be bad. Like I would say,
Bad
meeting-
mouth anyone, anyways.
what was that?
I was gonna say you can't say if it's bad or just.
Yeah,
Mm.
but like for meeting, let's say Felipe Massa, who's like a legend in the sport. For me, I had built up this stereotype, let's say, of meeting the guy. Such a cool guy. Like I remember meeting him before he came in, and it was just like having that for me was surprising. He was such a cool dude. Opened up so much about his story, told a great story, and I left there being like, "That's such a cool dude." So that was for me was surprising.
You weren't expecting him to be. Was he laid back?
So laid back and so open. Like you would ask a question, he would give you the answer. Like in a funny instance, like you should watch back the guilty or innocent questions. And I asked an innocent question of like, have you ever pranked a fellow teammate? Like,
Oh, I remember that one.
and he couldn't give me an
Lord.
example. And I was like, did you take his gloves? And he escalated a little bit more, which I was like, what the hell? But it was good. Like he let
Remind
it.
us all.
Oh, geez.
Do not drink around.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have a sports bottle in that, you gotta rewatch that episode.
We'll link it.
I had a similar experience. So one of your guests, Craig Scarborough, and I were in the paddock, and Craig's like, "Hey, let's go for lunch at Ferrari." So we decided to go for lunch at Ferrari, not knowing that we weren't supposed to be.
Oh,
He's like, "Just pretend you belong." So we grabbed our media passes and we put them in our pockets, and we walked in, and we had a fantastic lunch. And then we decided to go out, and as we walked out, Ferrari had an espresso bar outside
Oh.
on the front step of their hospitality suite. And Craig and I are both big espresso fans. So we walk over there, and who shows up? Felipe Massa. And he's waiting for us to take our coffee before he orders his. And we're like, no, you have it. And he refused. He's like, no, it's okay. And then we started talking. We talked for like 15, 20 minutes, just shooting the breeze about espresso and F1 and what's he doing now. And I was so not expecting Felipe to be just, so open and laid back, as you said, and social.
No, he's very social. Yeah. Fevin, do you have anything else?
Surprising guess.
Who surprised you the most? Who was like a wild
I
card?
think Daniil Kvyat definitely
Yeah.
surprised us. Like some of the stuff that he mentioned,
Yeah.
I wasn't ready.
He was
for a
very
lot of that.
open.
Very
Yeah.
open.
He
was very
the Ferrari
open.
contract thing, like my eyes were like, wow.
That was so for me. Actually, I remember that. I thought maybe I just didn't know enough, and I thought you guys had known this was a common thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, you had that, yeah. And like I didn't realize that it was like in
Breaking
the
news.
moment it was
Yeah.
breaking news, and it was after that I'm like, oh, like this wasn't. I just maybe didn't know enough about him, so I didn't even think about that. But yeah, that was very open and candid. Like he was very candid.
Yeah.
You know what surprised me? One of your guests said, I'm not going to say who because you guys will know and you guys can say it, that during a very difficult period after a crash, he felt abandoned by the
Yeah.
FIA.
Yeah. Yeah.
That for me was surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a deep moment.
That was a
You can
deep
tell.
moment.
Yeah. And it was even the feedback that he received from that clip alone of just so much support of just regular fans who don't even know his story. And it kind of like woke people up and saying, FIA has a lot of things to fix and it's not a perfect system. But I think he's starting to appreciate that it took, unfortunately, his moment for FIA to wake up or say, okay, I think we need to make some improvements in how we deal with drivers, regardless if you're an F1, anything. Right.
So I see a trend here. I
Yeah.
see a lot of great stories that are coming out, people being very open and transparent with track limits. I think people feel very comfortable talking to you guys. So you're doing something well because I think over time people have interviewed these people, but they haven't gotten out of them what you were able to get out of them. So that brings me to my next question, which is one that you guys don't know. That I put together here. I'm looking for just the name of a guest that shared a story or something with you that you can never repeat publicly.
Oh, Zach.
Zach
Brown.
Brown.
100%.
Zach Brown. For sure.
100%. Yeah.
Next.
Across the board.
100%.
Love me some Zach Brown.
Oh,
He was so good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I really like that episode. So, dream guest. Everyone always asks, like, who would you go to dinner with? Who would you want to party with? All these things. And we'll get to those later.
Party?
But for now,
Calm down there, lads.
Very
Yeah.
party,
Party?
defriend. Like, we should go find
Drive with.
for now, I would like to know if you could have any motorsport figure, alive or deceased, alive or fictional, I should say. Well, not fictional, deceased.
Deceased.
We'll say.
This is- yeah.
Mm.
On the podcast, who would it be?
Henny.
Will probably be the person that you're wearing the hat.
I was going to say that.
Yeah,
too.
Senna or Michael Schumacher.
I'm gonna just make sure that this is like a clip that we're going to use, FYI, because I'm going to talk about people that are alive and within our proximity and
Yeah.
that we can reach and get. I would love to chat with Susie Wolf, Toto. I want them separately. I don't want them together because there's different questions that I have for both of them. Lewis Hamilton.
So pretty much the whole Mercedes.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah,
like,
just start listing
gotta
out
pick
everybody
one.
in
You got to pick
Mercedes.
one.
Roscoe?
No, actually.
Woof, woof.
No, I think that all of them are just like trailblazers in their own right. And then I would also Alonso is also very high on that list. And okay, I'll stop.
Yeah, I start naming everybody.
I was going to say Senna as well, or Stefano, the CEO of F1. I think it'd be cool to have him on.
just purely for the laughs, I so want to have a sit down with Danny Rick.
Hey.
I also want to go for a sneaky pint with him afterwards. Like Danny Rick would be class as a guest.
Yeah.
Love to get Danny Rick. Let's put that out there for season 2. Let's
Boom.
get Danny Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Daniel Ricciardo.
I'd say Danny Rick. I mean, I would say Kimmy,
Yes.
both for the pint and
Yes.
and the interview.
Yeah.
But it has to be like a Kimmy that's had a few drinks
Yeah.
and is willing to kind of open up a little bit. I know he doesn't like interviews, but I think he would make a really fun guest if we could get him, half in the bag by the time
We
by
can
the time
introduce
got him.
Kimmy to a couple of pints of Guinness on his yacht. We'll take care of the rest.
There
Yeah,
you go.
like we don't have to do it in a podcast studio. We will come.
Oh,
Yeah.
we've done
You.
podcasts everywhere by now.
Yeah.
Like-
Literally,
Yeah. We
we're,
don't need
we're,
a
we're
studio.
ready.
That's actually our value prop. So
Yeah.
like on his yacht, say less.
Yeah.
That'd
And
be
we,
good.
we have stuff that we could ask him too. Mark Priestley, let us know a couple of stories.
Yes.
that
China, for example, when they trashed their hotel room with a food fight. I mean, that needs to be like question 2 or 3.
I want to see images and pictures.
Yeah.
The first question is, do you remember?
Fortunately, in his early days, not a lot of people had camera phones.
Yeah.
So a lot of that stuff.
That's a blessing in disguise.
Community engagement. Okay, so you guys are really good about being engaged with your fans and your followers, and I want to take that back from you. Guys are really good with getting people engaged, both in your podcasts and conversations and online and whatnot. I'd like to understand, how do you involve your audience in the content creation process?
Yeah,
And-
this year we did questions quite a bit, like for bigger guests. Zach Brown, Felipe, we threw out a graphic and we actually included people's handle if they gave us a question. That was really cool.
Tim Gunter.
Intertwined their questions in.
Yeah.
Then I think one step to that, I mean, just in our local communities that we do have the race watches that we do host, and we hope to be doing them bigger and better this year or this upcoming season. So I think like at the micro level, that's probably how we can engage with our just our community here, and hopefully the goal is that we'll be able to do that at a mass scale as we grow and doing them across North America, because our goal is to really like meet people that are passionate about this world as much as we are, but based in North America,
Which is how we
globally.
kind of met, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were there any memorable moments from these fan interactions, like maybe in the watch parties, or I don't know? I think you guys also did some questions on the street at one point,
Oh, in
Oh,
London.
my
which
many.
which incidentally I really like that idea.
That was our first
Day.
day. We flew to the UK to do our interviews. We all were there, and then we did the on-street live activation.
Favorite team.
Oh my god! But it
Not
was
even what
Yeah.
even is that? Is that a meal?
but it was so funny because Henny was like we were like, again, we were starting this out. We got all equipment, but it was so silly. We were asking questions, but we were just talking with no microphone. And I remember you looking at me like, Mike, put the goddamn microphone to your mouth and then pass it. And I was like, I got it.
Mikey was so dejected because no one would answer his questions.
But you told me afterwards I was being a little bit
He
aggressive.
was
Yeah.
running up to them
It's like,
with a mic in
But
their
if they
mouth.
said no, I was like, I'm just going to walk with you. You might change your mind. That didn't go down well. Switch
You're a great
then.
salesman. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
No, I got this.
You got
I got
this.
this.
You
I don't
got
take no
there.
for an
You got
answer.
there.
Yeah.
He got a few.
Switch though. You killed it. You were good. You were good.
I did take the money out though and show it to
Yeah.
them too.
It's also
which was
you got
nice.
a baby face. So good well.
I do what I can.
Is that skincare?
But yeah, another one too, and this is like a side note. I took a vacation with my mom to Europe, and I remember going to Prague, and we were at the airport at a lounge, and the front desk lady was like, "Oh my God, you're part of Track Limits," and that blew my mind. Like my mom already was like, "What?
It's like, how?
This podcast? What? How? How do you know him?" And like it was
Prague
pretty
as
cool
well.
in Prague, out of
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
places,
wow.
at the airport lounge.
Like at
was
this
pretty
point, we have
cool.
like what, like less than 8,000 subscribers on YouTube. Not that we have that many more now, but it's just still like the reach
16, by the way.
Yeah.
double.
Yeah,
okay,
let's
let's
go.
Don't talk down like that.
No, I'm just saying. Oh, all right.
Jeez.
Didn't catch how
Are you even part of this team?
She's a big vision. She's a big vision.
Devin doesn't look
Damn.
at followers and subs. She doesn't care
No,
about
I'm
that.
not a metrics lady.
She's not. Yeah.
But that was a
I'm just
cool.
like,
That, for you, that was
I'm
definitely a
kidding.
cool moment.
No, I do look at the metrics. I just
Uh-huh.
didn't know exactly where we're at.
Yeah.
But I was saying that we were at half where we are at today.
Yeah.
And the fact that that had reached like to in Prague, I mean, do
Yeah,
you think
meant
that
a lot.
would- yeah.
Yeah.
So a topic that's kind of near and dear to my heart is diversity. I know it's important to you guys.
Yeah.
I got. Is it not?
Yeah,
I got
worst timing ever.
Is it not important to you?
He's getting choked up. He's got a lot of.
So we can agree.
Good job, Henny. Good job.
We can agree it's important to all of us,
Yes.
except for maybe Henny.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it
what-
needs-
Don't come to me.
Yeah. Why is diversity in motorsport something we care about? And then secondly, why do you feel it's important for our audience?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the beginning, the very first episode, and the part of why I wanted to be a part of this was because representation was everything, and I kept saying like you can't be what you can't see, and I think throughout the season, I've heard and seen from brands, from teams, from the F1 Academy, that like more and more is happening within the actual sport to encourage diversity and inclusion across the board, and to be a part of it. And now seeing that, like, I get people on Instagram that reach out, and I don't have a massive following myself. If you're watching, you want to follow, hey, who are here. But I think it's just interesting when I start having conversations and dialogues with women or people of color that are asking me, hey, are you going to be at the Austin Grand Prix or whatnot? I know that what we're doing, even at the smaller scale, is already reaching the population that I'm trying to reach, and is encouraging them to stay and engage with the content that we're creating. That in itself is going to encourage more and more people to work in this space, to spend in this space, and to continue like just I guess increasing the popularity and our space within it. So I already think that there's a lot of change that's happened from us just being in it. So the more we can talk about it, the greater, the better. Now, next year, I'm excited to see how the F1 Academy does and how more and more brands include just content creators that are diverse and from different areas than what I guess F1 has been predominantly used to doing, which is, white British men.
Mic drop.
Me neither. Perfectly
Yeah.
said.
I'm excited. This is like, I can't.
But it's cool to share those people's stories as well and highlight it and get it out there, because it's always a different set of eyes. It's a different set of visions.
You know how many on a daily basis I get? It's like female creators within the F1 space following me, and it's like, oh my god, I'm so excited. Like they're just starting out. Like I don't do my own content creation, or maybe I should, but it's just so good to see that there's more and more that are not just like female, but different races and geographical locations. It's just so cool.
Yep.
I love that Track Limits brings this forward and makes people feel that, hey, maybe I can do this too.
Yeah.
Right. No matter who you are, what you look like, where you are, that to me is important, to be part of an organization like Track Limits that encourages that as well. I forever have tried to be an ambassador to the sport, and now I like to see what you guys are doing and bringing absolutely like a whole new group of people into not just the sport, but also what you guys do with podcasts and content creation.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we covered this a little bit. I had this question around one thing that you wish you knew before you started your journey. Aside from renting stuff and going to odd places that may be closed at 1 o'clock.
Going to be hard work, expensive,
Hard.
and fun.
It's hard.
It's hard. It is
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Like everything you see, like you see people that put up videos like, well, it's just a video. The amount of effort, the research, the locations, the prep, the getting it out there, the editing, it's wild. Like a 5-minute clip doesn't do it justice.
No.
Not at all.
Yeah. And like I think even like just to enter the rooms or like the spaces that we're entering and like asking for what we want, I think in the beginning we probably, I mean, to kind of shift gears into making it a little bit more positive, we thought it would be harder in some areas. In that, like, we never dreamt of having Gunther, Mario. Like, honest to God, a lot of our guests, we never even thought we would belong in the same space or room that they would be occupying. So the fact that knowing that there are a lot of people just have stories to share and they want to be around and want to interact with people that look and talk and act like us and have the same, like, I think it just goes to show, like, if we are professional about our approach but also have a perspective and a voice, asking for introductions, and this industry being so small was something I didn't expect, even though it feels vast and big. Like, everything's very interconnected.
Amazing how many people know each other.
Yeah.
It's very connected. It is very connected.
Very connected. Yeah.
We've been lucky that everyone we've met has been so open and welcoming and also try to help. So that's also been a massive blessing. A massive blessing.
What went into starting this? Like, I know we spoke last year around this time or before this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But about a year ago.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, we're going to do this. Why start it? Like, what went into starting this? Why did you start it? I'm sure there's a lot of people sitting at home right now that they're like, oh, I can do this. Whether you can or can't.
You can.
You can.
You can. And, like,
You just
talk
have to
us
be
about it.
prepared.
Let's chat.
You have to be prepared for the hard work
Yeah.
and the expenses that come with it, right? And you have to be committed. One of the reasons I can't join you guys full time is because I cannot commit that much time and effort into doing this. So I love being part of it. I just can't do it. So if you're going to do this, you need to commit. And you guys all committed. You're like, we're going to do this. So what went into starting this and why?
I would like to say it's a very polished and professional story, but it honestly was like the four of us at the Montreal Grand Prix at a restaurant by a bar drinking. And then no one was drunk, but like, I think one of us was just like, it'd be cool to do a podcast. And everyone was like, yeah. And then like ideas just started flowing.
Started naming. We started trying to come up with a name.
Yeah.
We got
Right
the
on the
name
spot.
at that bar in that booth.
We got it at that bar in the booth. And then we just wrote down a bunch of ideas. I think it was around September. You guys were in Ethiopia.
Yeah.
We started planning everything out in Google Docs, came back, and like November, we started booking flights and we're like, okay, we're committing to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
but
crazy.
we didn't really have a clear, I guess, path or just like plan, but we knew we wanted, as we mentioned, like maybe 10 to 15 guests, and just wanted to make it the best quality content that we could ever create. I think what we all agreed on is that there are a lot of podcasts out there that we like to consume, but there are on Zoom or for whatever reason, like it's just the audio or video production level was just not at the highest level. And we said, I think if we can, let's do it right. Let's do the best that we can at the beginning. And that was the making, that was the foundation, and everything else was iterating as we went.
So you had no idea what was actually going to go into the creation of an episode, right? So why don't you take our guests through, like, from inception, like, hey, I think we can get so-and-so, okay? And then from there, you actually have to reach out to them. And so walk us through what it's like to get a Zach Brown or a Gunther or a Stewart or whoever, you know, we would want to get on the we're talking about Danny Rick.
Yeah.
You know, hey, we met him in Canada.
Yes, we did. Yeah. It's a mic drop.
I'd love to.
Right there.
I would love to be in the room with Danny when you guys do that.
Yeah.
My own reasons.
Confidential.
Everybody in the background with his shoe. Like, hey, let's go.
Exactly.
But why don't you walk us through what, for our guests, our followers here that are watching, what does it take to actually put something like this on?
It starts all the way from the beginning of saying, like you said, who do we want?
Yeah.
And then it's like the point of contact. Like, okay, who do we have to reach out to get them? And if they're so big, we're like, well, how do we start from the bottom? Like, how do we go and interview someone that's close to them? We want to hear their side of the story, because that's interesting. I know Danny Rickson, they're all top dogs And we want to reach out to the other stories that are not told, that are surrounding Danny Rick. And then that's pretty much how we start working around. And then after that, it's starting to planning. If we get a yes, or, oh, they're going to be at this event, we'll be like, well, okay, maybe we can reach out to the events coordinators and see how we can do an interview there if we can't go directly to Danny. I know we've had a few lucks there. We're doing that kind of route. And then it's production, then it's planning. If we get that secured, it's questions. Okay, now we have our format. I think by now everyone who watches it know our format of the Q1, Q2, Q3. And then once we get that, we of course have to send it, make sure that they're comfortable with the questions that we're asking. And after that, it's booking the studios, making sure our equipment is working and we're set, arriving an hour and a half early if so be, to set up and be comfortable. And I mean, we're a small team, so we're the ones doing the production. We're the ones setting up, making sure everything is okay, and also being hosts at the same time. So it is a lot of work, but it's part of the journey that I think we enjoyed. There's been a lot of headaches, like we mentioned earlier, but you come out of those episodes and be like, oh my God, we crushed that. Like we got this viral clip going. We just know that's going to hit. So there's been really great moments, but I think, I don't know if I'm missing anything.
That's half the battle though, mate. What about post-production?
Post-production.
That's where you and the team conjure up magic.
Yeah. That's another beast.
Half the, the battle is the fact, or like the reason why also like a lot of just like guests feel comfortable is we all know each other intimately and we have a very good chemistry. He is my brother, like blood brother. We're the Yes News. Then I'm married to that guy over there, Michael. And Swish is basically an adopted brother in our family. So
yes,
like so it really is this like a family and friends like dynamic and a passion project that
we bring the banter as well. Like that's how we make the guests feel like at ease, because before they come in, we always have a laugh.
I was gonna say, I mean, it's not as formal.
No.
Right? There are a lot of reasons people hate interviews is because it's always the same questions. They have to be guarded on how they answer. They feel uptight. There's this feeling of kind of laid back comfort, like it's like having a chat with some friends as opposed to having like an interview, right?
Exactly.
Which is really, I think, what it kind of sets you guys apart is that the fact that you guys are so comfortable with each other, and I think that kind of spans across to your guests, and they start feeling a little bit like, oh, I can just hang out with these guys.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I think one piece of advice that, or I guess feedback that we received that could be taken as advice if anyone is creating or any content was the fact that a lot of people, content creators, reach out to press officers, whomever, and reach for the stars, and that's great. But if you are doing that, doing it in a professional manner, and having a pitch deck, and like these things really do matter. Like having the questions prepared ahead of time and sending it on a letterheaded, piece of document. Like these are probably things that many may not think of doing, or maybe have but haven't done, or maybe just basic. But we've done that a few times where that has been the reason why they've said, yeah, absolutely, we want to work with you. Maybe with Pirelli, it was part of that. We had a warm introduction, but it was our then taking it from there and like presenting what we had to offer from this is our package, this is what we want to deliver, was what got them across the board.
And then even after like bringing a gift and afterwards, like taking a photo, we send each guest a plaque. Right. And each of them gets like this special plaque with their episode name and the photo we took after. And, checking back in with them, like, especially the people on the press and comm side. I mean, so many of them, like, we'll even just go for, like, a drink with them or dinner with them or lunch with them because we really enjoy their perspective, too. I mean, we've actually even asked a few of them to come on the pod and share their story because we are mesmerized by what they do.
Yeah, exactly.
The untold stories.
So I met with Mario in London recently, and he said how much he enjoyed the interview and being with you guys, and he felt it was really professional, and he also felt that you guys were really kind of made him feel comfortable. So he said he had a really good time on the
lighting. What about the lighting?
Looking great.
Too good.
On the topic of choosing your guests, how do you do that? Like, what's the process for saying I want this person? Like we talked about, like, who do we really want on the podcast? Obviously, anyone on the grid right now, anyone behind the scenes that's involved, anyone who we talked about, Kimmy and Massa and whatever. But how do you like, where do you go from here? Like season 2, season 1, you had a lot of guests, right? 38 guests. Far cry from the 10 that you were aiming for.
That's crazy.
Still coming out.
Right. Season 2 is around the corner. How do you pick your guests?
We actually just did this exercise before Christmas holidays, and I think we looked at kind of high-level categories of types of people we wanted, right? Like we want a driver. Yeah, we want someone in F2. Okay, well, we want a performance coach. Oh, we actually want a few creators. Oh, we want definitely people that are in F1 Academy, because let's, definitely showcase the struggles and the hard work that went into even get into F1 Academy. So, like, I think when we thought about who to bring on, we first thought about a high-level category and then started matching people. Each person has their own wish list, and we wrote that down.
Yeah, love
but it
that.
starts with, like, the kind of theme of the season in terms of, like, the category of people we want.
Yeah, we don't just want race, like the people that are racing or the front or just in the front of everything, press and like, or on in our TV screens or whatever you're watching it on. But we want the untold stories too.
The Mark Priestleys.
Yes. Yeah.
They do so. Just such good feedback on some of those podcasts where, even from just like opportunity creation, like for a lot of people that maybe have not thought about that avenue of work or just pursuing that or getting into motorsport in that angle or going into engineer. Like
Blake.
Yeah,
Blake Kinsey.
It just
Blake.
Yeah,
and Scarbs.
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think we want to continue showcasing different archetypes of people in the motorsport industry.
And also outside of F1.
Yeah, the
We want-
motorsport industry.
Yeah, motorsport in general.
We did Indy this year. We did F1. We did F2. We did what else? WEC.
We did like,
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll have potentially someone in Formula E ? But hopefully someone in FE. That'd be
Even in
nice.
NASCAR, you never know.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Le Mans.
Oh.
I want to do the 24-hour
Yes.
with all of
Yeah.
you guys.
Yes, that'll be like-
I don't want to do it with Mikey though. That's the problem.
You don't.
He's so annoying.
Maybe we'll start with the Daytona 2400.
Yeah,
24 hours.
We'll disappear for half at least.
Where did Mikey and Swish go?
Any favorite guest experiences?
Guest experience.
Oh, Gunther.
Oh, yeah,
that was,
yeah.
that
For
was really
me, Gunther.
That light bulb just went out. It almost
Yeah.
blinded me.
Yeah, like Gunther was absolutely like a gem of a human being. I don't know what I expected going into it. I guess I didn't probably have any expectations, but he was basically a dream guest. Like he gave a lot. He was so himself, not in any way calculated in his answers, nor was he like holding back anything. He was just himself, and it was so easy.
And that one came up fairly quick. Like we had talked about this, right?
Yeah.
And then it just kind of happened.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, I'll come with you guys. And then before you know it, you guys are there. It was like, what happened?
Yeah, it was a very last minute. Oh, by the way,
Like a 2-day turnaround
he's
of flights.
Available these days.
Yeah.
So
His team was very undecided because I know they had their book launch and their
Yeah.
tour,
Yeah.
and they couldn't really decide when they want us to shoot it and also release it.
Yeah.
So we're like up in the air, literally.
But that shows how flexible you guys are and how committed you are, right? You just picked up and went, right?
Yeah.
He's available tomorrow. All right, we're on a plane. We're going.
we sent the questions a couple of days before and was on the flight and did it and was back in Canada in 24
I
hours.
would reiterate that one too because he's also, like Fevin said, a gem of a human to the point where even 15 minutes before we were starting, he checked in on us.
Oh,
Like he opened the door and was like, "Do you guys need anything?"
Yeah,
Like,
you guys need help? We're like,
dude,
no.
you run the place.
Yeah, there was also
no.
no one.
No
in the
one
there.
building,
Yeah,
like
it was-
not even a soul.
Yeah.
So he was like, "If you need anything, I'm just around the corner." Like he was the only one working. It was just a surreal moment.
Yeah.
We were just walking down the hallway, and I saw a shadow. I'm like, "Oh, who is that? Oh, God! Oh,
Oh yeah.
God."
He's like, hello.
Yeah.
Do you get that a lot from people who know him? You see a lot of, banter. Like he and Mario Isola, they're
besties.
They're besties. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that goes. I think they're both really nice guys, and I think they play well off of each other, especially when they're joking around and whatnot. But So it's good to hear these stories, because a lot of people don't know. They see him on how he's perceived on Netflix,
Yeah.
and they see him, on Pitbull and the odd. Yeah, they don't know how sweet a guy he is, really,
Yeah.
right? Because he get put up that front. I'm the boss.
Yeah.
Show up.
Got to show up. Got to be the hard nosed guy. Swear every now and then. Any swearing on that episode?
No. We gave him permission.
Yeah. He held
Wow,
back.
I'm
Yeah.
disappointed,
he-
Gunther. If you're out there, we got to do it again.
No, we didn't.
We
I
got
called
to.
him old.
Oh, he did.
He didn't like you.
He didn't like
Yeah.
me in Q1.
or
And
any
then
part. Really.
Hey, he loves me. I go to bed thinking that every night.
I'm pretty sure he remembers only me.
Probably true, honestly. He really likes Fevin.
We had it was such amazing banter. He was great.
I have a question around. We're talking about creating content and engaging people and whatnot. So my question to you is, and I'm not sure who wants to answer this, but reflecting on the past year, what are some key lessons you learned about creating engaging and shareable content?
Annie, you want to take that?
I mean, it changes all the time. I don't think there's a perfect formula to, at least in post production. I know when we sit on these interviews and we come out and be like, I think that was a great clip. I think many people don't know about that specific story or that specific incident that guest went through. But when it comes to engagement in terms of our content, it's just
Race reflection episodes, and then as soon as we leave the studio, all of a sudden, actually, no, he's been disqualified. He's losing that position. We're like, well, we just wasted that good 40 minutes.
It's not wasted. We just
True. It's not wasted. It's just it kind of like it is what it is. We're very flexible. We change in a dime. We figure it out, but no one's like going to stress over like.
And even on a macro level, we like April, for example, the Chinese Grand Prix got canceled. We realized we had 3 weeks that we could go to London and interview people, and that's what we did. Right, literally picked a plan out, booked a bunch of people to interview, and went out there and did it. So even in those moments where things go wrong, there's always opportunity, and I think. We're looking at the bright side sometimes to be like, well, let's maximize even the mistakes or, things that went wrong. Obviously, don't repeat them, but then on the macro level, take advantage of them too.
Yeah, and not discounting velocity. I mean, I think we need sometimes to just I think that time when there was such a massive change in the grid after we changed the reflector, we were like, do we go back and reshoot it or do we just release it, knowing that everyone was in this experienced the same thing that we experienced, which is
Shock.
news came after
Disappointment.
the fact, and shock, disappointment, you name
a
it,
day and a
whatever.
half after.
Exactly. And in the end, that's part of our authenticity. And you know what? That podcast was filmed in real time when we saw and reacted. And it is a reflection, and we reacted to what we experienced. And we decided it was not worth it for us to go back and reshoot that, because it's better to get the content out and move on to the next thing. And I think these are decisions that we're able to make on the fly, and not on the fly, but collaboratively make a call, because we just want to make sure that we can.
You can always do it on the following podcast, the following race review. Hey, by the way, this is what happened on the last one. Yeah,
A little disclaimer.
a little disclaimer. Yeah. So we've talked a lot about producing. Obviously, as everyone can see, there's microphones, there's lighting, there's cameras all over the place. Walk us through your setup. Like, I saw it a few times, right? Just we saw it again tonight. Walk us through your setup. What do you find essential for producing a high quality podcast? Sound is clearly important.
100%. Yeah.
We've talked about lighting.
Lighting,
Yeah.
Sound, lighting,
cameras.
Cameras are the big one.
memory cards. I mean, there is a lot. We probably could have like a checklist. Maybe we should do that at some
We
point
already
on our
have a mental
website.
checklist when we set
But
this
we should
up.
probably make that available for anyone like on our website. Like, we should try to do that. Like, have it like, if you wanted to start your podcast, this is what we've used. Yeah. We could just like put that in our description code at some point or something. But yeah, lighting is important. Like these gifts and like
Maple syrup.
Yeah.
things
Poster.
that we
Helmet,
yeah
hat.
signing stuff, cords, extra cords, like if any extra SIM cards in case something doesn't work. What else am I missing?
I mean, yeah. I mean, we can get very
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
small
Yeah.
things, but on the high level stuff, it's the bigger equipment it's a must.
So part of
Yeah.
this is what happens afterwards. So we've spent a lot of time, and not everything that we said is going to be captured in this episode. So there's a lot of editing that happens. What can you walk us through a little bit around what happens on the editing process?
Yeah, so pretty much right after this, we would all sit down and talk about some parts that we would want as short clips. But more on the long form, it's going to be the same. Everything that we have said will most likely make it, unless we said something that's questionable that we need to remove. But I don't
Michael.
think. Yeah.
Love the way the eyes are over
Yeah,
here.
like, you know, my fingers were pointing somewhere. But no.
I'm actually.
You would get us cancelled.
Yeah, but I'm very. I shouldn't even admit
Or
that.
very
I shouldn't even admit that because I'm trying to justify.
Yeah, but
I feel Swish is just as bad.
Oh man, no! Don't
But
say
you're
that.
way
I
more
see.
professional than I am.
Pop, pop, pop.
Way more professional.
There's a second version of this podcast that's going to be on Sirius Radio, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
no, like
R-rated.
OnlyFans.
behind. Yeah.
OnlyFans. I thought, hey, R-rated.
Before someone clicks record, the banter
Yeah.
is wild.
Yeah, it's toxic.
But it's good.
Fun
It's good.
toxic,
It's
yeah.
good. It's good.
It's a lot of setup, but I also say one thing. I'm really proud of like how we've gone into now, like shooting in again obscure locations, and everyone knows their role. And like it's very much like I remember one time I think we were in Montreal and we were shooting an episode with Stu from Haas, the head of comms, and there was like a period of like silence because everyone just got right to it. No one asked questions to each other really, and like I know that sounds bad, but it was actually just because everyone was focused on doing their job. And then at the end, we all like were able to chill and like you know make jokes and kind of get the energy back up. But like it was cool to see that everyone, you know, especially by the end, had kind of figured out here's where I contribute, here's where I can help, and like obviously continue to help each other out, but continue to do your job as well, which was great.
I mean, if you're like a dancer or an artist or anything, it's like you rehearse this so many times. You have your moves, you have your places. You just
Yeah.
It's a routine.
We know at this stage Swish is breaking tripods.
Yeah.
me and Henny are doing all the hard work. Fevin's entertaining the guest. We
That
know
is
how it goes.
what I'm really.
Yeah, yeah. We've all learned.
How has this evolved over the past year? Like clearly you started off, you know, probably a little more uptight and nervous about how you're going to do it, and did you have enough cameras and all this other stuff? How has the content evolved over the past year? Were there any trends that you guys noticed, and what influenced your content over the course of the year?
I don't know if anything influenced. I'm not trying to be like arrogant, but like I think one of the things we actively try to do is be different. So like even when we watch other people and like there's so many cool creators that we respect, but like we always looked at that and we're like, okay, let's try a different spin on it. Even like our guilty or innocent segment, we changed that around, right? We felt like, okay, let's, you know, try to do something else. And Fevin had an awesome skit with Lando, for example, where she asked Lando about Gen Z slang. But like the slang we got from one of his teammates on Quadrant, who gave us a bunch of UK slang, even words that we were like, "What is a roadman?"
Yeah.
Like, and so stuff like that is cool, right? You take like viral pieces of content, then you kind of add your own flavor, something that's a little bit more personalized to the person you're talking to.
Yeah, I think at the beginning, we were a little bit more not formal, but like, or rigid. I'm a word in between formal and rigid. I think we were trying to stick to it so that we felt comfortable going into an interview.
Structured.
Structured.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's a sense of like you know where to land if you're lost in the line of questioning.
Remember, sorry not to cut you
Yeah.
off, but Nicholas Todd's interview,
Oh, yeah.
we literally wrote every question on a piece of paper because
Yeah.
we were like so scared
I-
of getting
yeah.
one question wrong.
I think I memorized. I did not sleep that night. I think I like memorized every word that was on that piece
Because
of
he was
paper.
critically looking at every question and giving us feedback on it.
Yeah.
We're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
we can't mess this up.
cannot.
at all. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a good thing though. We send all the questions beforehand, and most people don't look at it. Most
not-
don't. Like, but sometimes their press officers do.
People actually really like vibe with her and like her, and like I see why. I'm shocked. I'm like, how? And Mikey, I mean, he's the most like tactical guy I pretty much know. Like he could build you something from scratch. He could fix problems in a heartbeat. I remember telling Henny this is whenever he leaves a shoot, I get nervous sometimes. Because like whenever things go wrong, like Henny now is really, really, really like, you know, resourceful. But like especially early on, Mikey was like the type of person to be like, let's not look at that anymore. There's no blaming people or anything. Let's just get on with it. And like would set a really good tone for the team to be able to move on.
Fixing tripods, I swear to God. This man, liability.
Take that all back.
We'll
I
blame
take it
you.
all back. He brings my anxiety to another level.
And like we have argument, we have like little
yeah.
like cat fights or not cat fights,
yeah.
but like it's just you. But it's just it's a family thing, and we really do duke it out like we're brothers and sisters, and then we say, okay, squash it, cool.
But it shows we care about it as well. Like,
Yeah.
we're all
Yeah.
invested.
I got that vibe early on. I think from our first call.
Yeah,
Did we fight on that call?
squash it.
You weren't even on the call.
Yeah, I was like, what?
We're just about to wrap up here, so we're gonna do a quick rapid fire
Ooh,
because
okay.
I love the rapid fires.
Do it.
Okay, but before we do that, for someone who's watching right now that says, I really want to try something like this, what advice can you offer them?
Do it. Genuinely.
Yep.
TikTok is your first place you should do it in.
Yep.
That's a great first platform I think we've saw a lot of success on, just like from a growth perspective or the speed of growth. And just, I guess, if you have a point of view and try to be authentic.
I love it. If you're watching, just do it.
I honestly, they really don't need any of the fancy.
I mean, in small building blocks, right? Don't try to do this right away. Like we did not get to this level right away. Like we talked about throughout the entire podcast, we started with like small, 2 cameras, smaller setups. We were like not even that many guests initially, and then we went to Europe and got even more because we started building relationships. So, like Fevin said, do it, show up, and have a positive attitude. You never know where you could go with it.
Be prepared. Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot. Be very prepared.
Yeah.
Be prepared.
Writing your questions.
Yeah.
Planning is
huge.
key. Like planning
It
is
is.
key.
It's 90% of the work.
Yeah.
All right, who's ready for a little rapid round?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Are we gonna go around like just 1-1-1?
Surprises. Just pick a name
I
and we gotta
actually
go.
don't know what these questions are.
Me neither.
I didn't look. I don't know if the rapid fire were part of the question prep, but
No, they were my idea to get you guys off your game.
Nice.
Okay, let's do it.
Nothing
Let's
gets
go.
me
Let's
off
do
my
it.
game except for Mikey.
Get it.
ready.
If you could pick 3 season 1 guests to be stranded on a deserted island with, who would they be?
Do we go around, Mikey? Yeah.
Arav, great banter. Craig Scarborough, technical. I'd learned so much, and I guarantee he'd make a coconut into something wild. And then third person that we've already interviewed. Who else am I gonna pick?
I'm looking up YouTube right now.
That's cheating. Put the phone down. I want to say Callum, because we met him. We were said to him, hey, let's go for a pint afterwards because we do that with our guests to chill out, and we never got a chance. Met him a couple times afterwards. Seems like such a cool dude. Love to have a one-on-one with him. So boom, Callum there.
So on an island, you're gonna have a pint.
We got Craig. Guarantee he'll
They're going to make their
do
own beer,
something.
man. They're going to make
Guarantee
their
it.
own beer.
For me, it would be Arv as well. I would put Daniil Kvyat in there because he'd be good fun as well to have on the island. And then Zach Brown because they'd find us on a deserted island and rescue us if Zach was there.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
He's gonna know somebody.
True. Gunther for the comedic banter chills. Emma Kimmelainen.
Yep. She was great.
She's. I just feel like she would help build shelters or something. She like does stuff.
So
outdo-
adventurous. It's
Adventurous. She's
ridiculous.
outdoorsy. She's in Finland.
Put her in
I
any
feel like-
climate. Yeah,
I
she'll
feel like she would
Yeah.
she'll
survive and
survive.
everything, and anyone. And
Yeah.
I feel like I need like female
Energy.
energy around me as well. How many did I say? 2. And then Callum.
Okay.
Your brother.
Damn, okay.
I'm
I'm gonna walk out. I will put Mario because he's a part-time ambulance
Yeah.
driver,
he
so he
all
has
the
a lot
skills.
of skill set. I would include.
Rapid fire.
Oh, so shit.
Come on, lad. Pressure. Wow, all season 1 guests are looking at this, be like,
yeah,
yo,
they just want
One?
like. Oh a friend. Yeah. He's so chill. Yeah, and he's like our age, so we vibe. And then I know, right? I've chose Mario. I mean, he's not even that old, but
You're digging yourself a
he's
hole.
not that old.
Pause.
And then I'll include Felipe.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
He's a great entertainer.
The Richard Millie as well.
Yeah, but you better bring that
Saw
watch.
that.
Yeah.
Which season 1 guest would you most want to go for drinks with? I think you said Colin.
Yeah. I've gone for drinks with Arab. Great crack. Yeah, let's do Callum. Yeah.
I had to go back because this person saw us getting drinks, but we didn't actually get the opportunity to drink with him. Gavin Ward. 100% Gavin.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Hado.
Oh, yeah.
Damn, you took mine. Oh, I'll say Lando.
Oh yeah.
Lando doesn't drink,
He's a
though.
lot. What?
Yeah, Lando doesn't drink.
Really?
That's cap.
No, he doesn't drink.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
think he doesn't drink yet.
Show it.
You can have a non-alcoholic whatever.
Heineken.
Of all the drink. Oh yeah, Heineken. Yeah.
Wow, I'm shook right now.
Who is one guest you'd most like to have on the podcast in the future? And we
We've
kinda asked,
asked-
yeah.
we asked
Yeah.
that one, so we'll skip that one. Name the one thing that inspires and or motivates you to do this the most. The most is the key there.
It's rapid.
No, as long as
No.
we keep having fun, I think. And like
Yeah.
for me, it's like the moment we start like dreading waking up and doing this, because I already love the sport and I love like being part of it even more and more. But I think when we start kind of dreading being in this world, there's the fact that
experiences.
it's
We've
just
had
you
some of
guys.
the best experiences.
Exactly. Literally,
That's
yeah.
what motivates. Yeah.
I was going to say that too. Like initially, I think it was more around like trying to learn more about a sport we all love. But then now it's like, I mean, being with these guys is so much fun and like memories that.
Places we travel to, like it's.
That's
what
we
I mean.
wouldn't do it on our own, and
No.
now we
It's so
get
funny.
to
We're planning. We're like, oh, what vacations are we going to take this year? And we're like, well, we have to look at the.
F1 calendar.
calendar.
It's like, how do we plan around that?
I
Around
would
it.
totally do like a reality show where someone would actually be filming you running through the airport
Oh.
with 100
We
pounds
get
worth of
cancelled in
stuff.
2 hours.
Yeah.
Cancelled in 2
No.
hours.
What?
I'm getting cancelled in 2 hours.
Yeah, you obviously have to say what But
No,
like,
I'm
I
very
think
well
it would be a
spoken.
great show.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a great
I
show.
think it'd be a good show,
That's
too.
a Netflix show
I
right
mean,
there.
the banter that we have in like
The
the
lounges.
the lounges.
Oh,
or-
Well,
yeah,
listen,
yeah.
you're
The
you're doing it
underground.
anyways. You might as well throw a camera on.
It's true.
Yeah.
Watch season 2. We just have a GoPro strapped to our head 24/7.
Just plugged.
All right. So this one, I want to focus on like one word answer or something to that effect, like to really make it kind of rapid fire. But it is a really deep question, or 2 questions, and that is, how do you grow from here? How do you grow from here? What's next for Track Limits?
One word.
It doesn't have to be one word, but
Very short.
Concise.
yeah, concise.
So how do we grow from here?
How will you grow from here? What's next for you and for Track Limits?
I could start. We can grow by, in a not a negative way, but staying in our lane and not trying to be like others. I think the growth we've seen has been like we've proven that the recipe or like the equation is working. I think it's just like reaching more people. So I think it's just staying true to like our recipe and not getting influenced by too many different outside voices or like other like creators, and just being true to ourselves, I think, and being authentic.
That's a long.
Oh yeah, that
long
was your
word.
short answer.
That's like.
So someone else
Holy.
answer.
I'm going to say this is a potentially a preview for a roadmap, empowering creators of diverse backgrounds
Yeah.
to share content in motorsport.
I'm going to do as you asked. One word. I'm going to say consistency. That's the only way we're going to go is consistent, same, good
I'll
quality.
go numbers. 100K subscribers.
Hey.
Let's go.
You're dreaming very lightly.
This is season 2.
Yeah, this is season 2. Come on now.
All right,
God
guys.
damn.
Can you prove me wrong? Can you
Yeah.
prove him wrong?
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
Let's
Oh,
prove
no, no,
us
no.
wrong, people.
250.
Prove us wrong,
Let's
or
go.
me at least.
I would like to invite you guys onto the top step of the podium. I think we're done with P1 qualifying. I think this is we've crossed the finish line, guys.
Let's
Great
go.
season. I wish you guys all the best
Oh,
in
thank you
next
so much.
season. Stay tuned for a lot more.